Hello, everybody. Welcome to this week's episode of Beware the Board, a horror podcast. We watch a randomly selected horror movie every week. I'm Bob.
And I'm Ben.
Oh my God, what is going on today? Can we not get through the fucking intro without losing our minds? You fucked up the last one. The last one was fine.
Bob's done 3 intros, and they've all not been great.
You did one of them, and it was horrible. Because you just coughed at me aggressively.
That's how you mess up the first one.
Good Lord.
Oh, my God. I'm a little delirious right now.
Yeah, I can tell, man. I can tell. Holy crap.
I got an hour of sleep.
An hour?
Yeah.
Oh,
I got off
Lord.
work. I didn't have a lot of time because I had to wake up early today for music lessons that ended up getting canceled.
That sucks.
So, very tired.
Fair enough. Did I introduce us? I don't even remember.
Well, I'm Ben. I almost said I'm Bob.
What a botched recording. I'm Bob.
And I'm Ben.
Yeah, that's our names.
I
Holy
did this.
shit.
I was doing the order in my head.
Yeah, fair enough. Holy crap. What a good intro, Ben. Wow, we've done a really good job. Hi, everybody. Welcome to the show.
This is Beware the Board.
Yeah, if you weren't aware because of our fucking shitty-ass intro, that's probably going to get heavily edited.
It's pretty fun, though.
All right, Ben. I know. Do we have anything to talk about this week before we get into the show? Anything interesting? Because I don't, to be honest.
No, life's been a grind.
Yeah, it's just been work, man. Work, and that's about it. Like,
Yeah, and classes.
yeah.
I've written at least 2 pages every day this week.
The amount of shit you have to write is kind of ridiculous. Like, I feel
almost
so
like
bad for you.
I'm an English major.
Almost. It's almost like you're an English major.
I gotta do, I think, between today and tomorrow, 10 pages.
That blows.
So when I'm done here, I'm gonna go home, nap, maybe cry a little,
There we go. That's a good idea.
and then do that.
Okay.
So
Well,
that should be fun, you know?
yeah, for sure. I'm sure it'll be really, really great. For those of you that don't know, we are on our last, 4 episodes of the season?
Yeah, but our last 3 movie spots and then a wrap up. Which
Yeah.
kind of doesn't count.
Well, it does
Like, it's
count.
an episode, and it takes up a week, which sucks for you guys, but, like, you know, it's not, we don't watch any movies for it.
No, but I feel like I always enjoy the wrap-up because I always like to hear your opinions, especially once we've gone through a whole board.
Oh, yeah, I enjoy the wrap up.
Because they always change over time. Like, I'm sure when we get to the board, I'll have some interesting things to say about some of these movies.
Yeah. With that being said, I think the point Bob's going for is we only have 1 spot left for each
We
category.
have 1 spot for each category left, and I'm so excited, Ben. Like, I'm hyped because I don't know why, but this time around, this season has felt so much longer than every other season of this show. Because I feel like we did board 1, and it was like, okay, we're getting the groove of things. Board 2 flew by, and then board 3, like, it's a slog. Why is this taking so long? I'm so excited to see what other categories we're going to get.
Fair enough.
Like, I know what mine is, and I'm super excited. And I know what the randoms are, and I'm not very excited.
Well, we still have to pick more randoms this time.
I know, but, like, I'm just saying, of the randoms we already have, I'm very scared.
I hope it's cannibals.
Yeah, I know you do. That's the one I really don't want. Like,
Why?
of all of them, that's the one I want
Why
the
would
least.
you not want cannibals? It's so good.
No, you know why.
It makes such great movies.
I'm sure it does. I'm sure it does make good movies, but I'm scared. No. No. You've almost gotten me a couple times with cannibals on this podcast.
Really?
Well,
Is it like a weird trigger for you or something?
no, not.
I kind of forget how many things like aren't great in your book.
I
but
just.
It's more than you think.
I look, okay. Well, I mean by, like, what? Bone Tomahawk had cannibals. But we
Yeah.
didn't really see the cannibals eat anybody.
Yeah, we saw him divide someone in half to eat him.
Yeah, but we didn't see any. Like, if I saw another person eating a person, like, that is where I'm like, okay. I think, like, a real person, not like a zombie or some you know what I mean?
No, because I don't get why zombies wouldn't trigger that.
I don't know. But there's something different about, like, like, a person that still has some form of control and sentience eating another person that I'm just like, that
guess.
makes me so uncomfortable.
Except a lot of the classic zombie movies use real, like, raw meat
Ugh.
for their meat eating scenes.
But
And it looks pretty realistic because, like, those people are actually chawing down on some raw meat.
yeah, you're right. I don't know. There's something about cannibals I just can't. It just makes me uncomfortable. I can't really explain it. It's like the whole bear thing. I can't
Bob
really
has
explain it.
referenced something that no one listening knows what he's talking about.
Well, yeah, but, like, you know what I'm talking about.
Right, but now I have to explain it.
You can explain it. I'm not like ashamed of it or
Basically,
anything.
Bob will essentially eat any animal,
Yeah.
including both his dog.
No, I didn't say I would eat my dog. Don't say it
Mm.
like that. Don't say it like that. No,
And,
you're making that sound so much worse than what it is.
and well, like if he was in a situation where he had to,
I don't know. Maybe.
and people.
I would eat a person.
He's weirdly excited about that one.
I'm not
for
weirdly
someone,
excited. I'm just
for
stating a
someone
fact.
who's so anti-cannibalism.
I am
He's
anti-cannibalism.
very weirdly like, yeah, I kind of want to try a person.
I'm not.
Just a
I don't
little-
know. I
little,
didn't.
little thigh meat, maybe.
Why
Maybe
are
a
you
little-
making this sound so much worse than it
the
actually
arm?
is, you some bitch?
You're just meat curious. But the one thing that he won't eat, I think ever,
Yeah, I think I've said like this is like one of the only things I won't do.
bear,
I won't eat a bear. I
which
won't
is
do it.
so weird. I mean,
won't
at
do
least you don't have to worry about trichinosis. But
It's true.
you could just
Yeah.
cook the bear meat and not have to worry about that.
I'm just not gonna eat the bear. I just can't. I can't bring myself to eat a bear. I just can't do it. I don't know why. I don't know why either. I can't explain.
Like, you don't even specify the type of bear. It's just bear.
No, I won't eat a bear. There's something about a bear that I'm just like, no, I won't eat that.
Like, I'm pretty sure I've had bear.
Have you?
Yeah,
How was it?
fatty.
Okay.
A lot of places have, like, bear paw.
Really?
That's a thing.
I didn't know that. Like chicken feet, kinda, but bear paw.
Yeah, but it's expensive 'cause it's a bear paw.
Yeah, I feel like bear
It's not gonna be
paws are
fried
kind of
like
hard to
chicken
come by.
feet.
Yeah, that's fair.
You only got 4 of them for, like, a massive,
God,
ton?
I was
It's
about
not
to
even
say-
a ton, but
they're big ass animals.
mm-hmm.
God bless. Okay, I guess we'll move on to the actual part of the podcast now. Stop talking about fucking bears.
Yeah. And we're in that home stretch where we don't have to specify spot numbers, which is great.
Because there's only one movie left. Oh, sorry, one spot left in every category. Could be more than one movie.
Yeah. Could be 12.
We haven't actually hit a more than one movie in a while. I can't remember the last one we did.
Did we have any on the last board?
I don't think so.
So, the first board?
Yeah, which I don't know what the last one we did in that order was. Was it Halloween?
It might have been Halloween 3. The best Halloween movie.
Don't stop
Bob's
that.
favorite.
Stop that. Shut
Bob's
up.
favorite Halloween movie ever.
No, I hate it. I genuinely hate it so
Hashtag Bob's pick for best sequel.
much. No, absolutely not. Okay, so what? We have Japanese horror,
Yeah.
H.P. Lovecraft stories,
Mm-hmm.
and how am I so dumb? What's the last one? Wild Wild West.
WWW.
WWWE. I'm going to go with H.P. Lovecraft stories because I'm kind of setting myself up for a win here at the end, I hope. Considering how good the last movie was.
Oh, for J-Horror?
Yeah, I'm going to aim to end with J-Horror, so I'm going to start.
You say aim like you have no control here. You just go this one and then Wild Wild West next week.
Well, Ben, here's the problem. By the time next week comes around, I'll probably have forgotten, and I might pick the wrong one. We'll find out.
I mean, fair enough.
I always forget. Sometimes I listen to old episodes and go, why did I say that? Because I know we didn't do that.
That's fair.
Like, we just change our minds sometimes. Shit
Well,
happens.
We
We
you-
do. We do change our minds
You
sometimes.
changed your mind.
I don't know what you're talking about. You can't blame me for everything,
Mine
Ben.
all the time. Kind of indecisive.
So, yeah, I'll take whatever's left in H.P. Lovecraft stories. I hope to God it's not as horny as the last two movies from this category.
All right. Well, sorry. I gotta psych myself up for this. Gotta build
No.
up to
I
it.
bet you this is a movie you really like, isn't it?
Eh.
Okay. I don't know. I just didn't know how. I didn't know if you were being facetious or if you're actually excited about this one.
Today, we're gonna be watching Re-animator.
Fuck you. You lying piece of shit. I hate you so much.
Bob, do you want to explain to the audience why you hate me?
I literally, what did I ask you 2 days ago?
You've asked me multiple times.
I was like, hey, look, I know it's supposed to be random. I'm not supposed to know what movies are coming up. But I know Benjamin so fucking well because we spend so much time together that we were at work. And I was like, hey, you don't have to, or no. I asked him, is Re-animator an H.P. Lovecraft story? And you straight up lied to me.
Yeah.
You said, I don't think so. You're like, nah, it's not. So then I was like, oh, we're not watching Re-animator.
Right.
Are we watching a movie by the same guy in all three spots?
So about that,
God damn it, Stuart Gordon. How horny is this movie?
yeah. So I lied to you
Yeah, fucking liar.
solely because you
Now
knew
I'm
I liked this
salty.
movie, and I didn't want you to be like, "Oh yeah, that's the one we're getting." Especially 'cause like if I told you it was an H.P. Lovecraft story, you knew it would have been on here.
Yeah, because I know
Is it-
you like it so much.
Yeah, and since it's the last one, like the last spot,
Yeah.
and I like that movie.
Man, maybe we should have ended with this one. Damn.
Interesting.
What? You bitch.
Anyways, from 1985,
Okay.
my
Okay.
description here: Lovecraft's take on Frankenstein.
Awesome.
Pretty straightforward.
Yeah.
Length's an hour and 24 minutes.
Okay.
It's unrated.
Fuck yeah.
Hopefully,
What do you mean? Hopefully.
apparently there's an R-rated version.
Oh, okay.
We don't want to watch that.
the-
I think it's like 30 minutes shorter.
30 minutes. That's crazy.
All right, review scores. IMDb gave it a 7.2 out of 10.
It's pretty solid.
Tomato meter, 94%.
Ooh, nice.
Audience score, 82%.
Oh man, I love a good movie. That's all I have
So-
to say. A
I gotta say, IMDb score's kind of weird this week.
little bit.
Because usually it's an average between the tomato meter and the audience score,
Yeah.
but this time it's lower than both,
Mm-hmm.
which is a little odd. Awards. It has 4 wins and 4 nominations. This is a note on my side because I think it's interesting. They changed the part of the site on IMDb that does awards. Now it looks different.
Oh, is it better organized or no?
It's fancier looking.
Okay. All right. I guess.
It's harder to look through quickly. I guess that'd be the word.
Okay, that makes sense.
At least for me, but that might just be because I'm used to the old one. But 4 wins. They are for the 1986 Fanta Festival. That award went to Stuart Gordon for Best Film. There's also another one from the same year at the Fanta Festival, and the award was to Anthony Dublin for Best Special Effects. There was another award at the 1986 Aviora's Fantastic Film Festival. It was a special mention to Stuart Gordon for horror. And then finally, it's once again the Sitges Catalonian International Film Festival. In 1985, they gave an award to Stuart Gordon for Best Film.
Okay. It won some awards. Not as many as One Cut of the Dead, of course.
Oh, yeah.
But, fairly rewarded.
Notable actors.
No. Don't hit me with it.
Jeffrey Combs
He's
as
back.
Herbert West.
But, well, hold on. What?
Herbert West?
I thought you said pervert. I thought his name was
Herbert
Pervert
the
West.
Pervert.
And I was like, my God,
No.
Stuart Gordon.
He
How horny
plays-
is this movie?
Herbert West in this movie.
Yep.
I don't know if you remember me telling you this, that there's one role that Jeffrey Combs does, and I just want to call him by that character name.
Oh, is it this one?
It's Herbert West, yeah.
Okay. I'm excited to see Jeffrey Combs back. He's not been a bad actor so far.
No.
I've enjoyed him in everything I've seen.
This is the role I think that fits him probably the best,
Okay, that's really exciting.
or at least the way he tends to act in the films we've seen him in.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Just in
for
horror
sure.
movies.
Okay.
He plays into this role hard, and it's so good. I love Herbert West.
Okay.
He also plays, sorry if I pronounced these wrong, Wayon Brunt and Officer Mulcahy, as well as Tyron from Star Trek Deep Space Nine.
I did not know he was in Deep Space Nine.
Yeah. He was on there from 1994 to 99. He was in 32 episodes.
Damn.
You know who else is in this?
She back?
Barbara Crampton as
Yep, she's back.
Megan Halsey. She's also played Anne Sciacchetti in We Are Still Here.
God, geez, the dynamic duo. Can't catch them
Well,
apart.
trio, right? Because Stuart Gordon, too, directed this movie.
Oh, that's true, I guess. Yeah.
Which, just putting this out here, I was doing the whole, Lovecraftian horror thing.
Yeah.
I was picking my movies, and I got 2 movies in, and I went, both of these have Jeffrey Combs in them.
Oh, my Lord.
Both of these are directed by Stuart Gordon. I wonder if I could just complete this trio.
The Stuart Gordon trifecta.
So I gave us the Stuart Gordon, Jeffrey Combs, and Barbara Crampton
Trilogy.
trilogy,
Oh, what a
which I thought you'd
good-
appreciate.
I
you
do
know?
appreciate that, honestly. Because it's cool, because while their roles in the movies are similar, they're different, and I like seeing the range we're getting from these people. But also, Stuart Gordon has only made 2 horny movies, and if this movie isn't horny, I'll be mad.
Now the issue with that whole trilogy thing, that is why we watch Castle Freak. Just putting that out there.
Well, that was upsetting, but that's unrelated,
But
I
it
think.
completes the trilogy.
Yeah.
Next person, Bruce Abbott as Dan Kane. He plays Swan in Interzone. David Gale as Dr. Carl Hill. He plays Dr. Anthony Blakely in The Brain. Robert Sampson as Dean Halsey. Plays Flynn Harding in Dark Side of the Moon. We've seen this person before. Carolyn Purdon Gordy. Do you know who that is?
Ooh, that name is super, super familiar.
Well, the name should be familiar. It's, I believe, Gordon's ex-wife?
Yep, she was in Castle Freak. She was that doctor lady.
Yes, she was.
Yep. I was trying to remember.
Dr. Block in
Mhm.
From Beyond. That's why her name's Purdy Gordon.
Ah, I see.
They were married at the time. But she plays Dr. Harrod in this one.
Always playing doctors.
Peter Kent as Melvin.
Good old Melvin.
I saw this guy, and I started doing like some looking into because
Oh?
it's super interesting.
Okay.
He did stunts, uncredited, for Arnold Schwarzenegger throughout the 80s.
Yo.
And I'm talking big movies. Terminator, Predator, Total Recall, etc.
Holy shit, this guy's like a really, really good stunt actor.
Well,
Well, okay, I
he
really,
just
really
kind of looks a lot like
Arnold.
Arnold Schwarzenegger because he was in a motorcycle accident and it messed up his face. But when he was like near fatal accident, like destroyed all the bones in his face.
Yeah.
When he healed, they were like, "Wait a second, you look a lot
Like Arnold Schwarzenegger.
like this Austrian man."
Nice.
So yeah, I just thought that was very interesting.
That is really interesting. I didn't know that. I just assumed that Arnold did all of his own stunts. That just feels like something he would do, and I don't know why that is to me.
That does, and I'm sure he has probably done some of them.
Probably.
But you really can't do your own stunts as an actor.
Yeah, it's dangerous as fuck. Like, the fact that Tom Cruise still does it is insane to me.
Well, the main issues are insurance.
Yeah.
It makes your insurance insane, but also if you hurt yourself, you can ruin your career, but also like not gonna get paid.
Yeah.
You're not gonna get money. Can ruin a set.
Ridiculous.
So it's just not a good idea, even if it's cool.
It's definitely cool.
Next one, Ian Patrick Williams as Swiss Professor.
How specific.
He also plays David Bauer in Dolls, which was the movie that
Oh, yeah.
Gordon directed at the same time as, I believe, From Beyond.
Yeah, I think so. We talked about it.
Bunny Summers as Swiss Woman Doctor.
Awesome.
You've seen this person before in another Gordon movie.
Oh? Oh, no.
She had a lost dog. She's the neighbor lady.
Oh,
Beyond.
that lady. Okay. Well, they didn't lose the dog. The dog was found.
It was lost for a minute. It
Well,
ran
yeah.
into the horny
Resonator
house.
room.
And finally, Al Berry as Dr. Gruber. Do you remember Dr. Gruber?
No.
Or I'm sorry, Al Berry, because he's
No.
appeared in your favorite Halloween movie of all time.
No way. No, you're fucking with me.
Yes.
No. He's not. No, we're not. He's not back.
Who is it, Bob?
No. I don't know who it is, but I don't want it to be who I think it is.
I'm not sure who you think it is. But he's Harry Grimbridge in Halloween 3, Season of the Witch. It's the guy at the very beginning in the cold open.
Oh, okay.
who's
Not
being chased.
okay. Not that guy's fine. I thought it was gonna be somebody else for a second, and I
What,
got
a
really
Cochran?
scared. Yeah, I thought Cochran returned.
Cochran's really old.
Yeah, but Halloween 3 only came out a couple years before this. He could still be around acting.
Yeah, I guess.
He was old in that movie, but I mean,
Yeah, but this movie's 85.
that came out in like 82 or something. 83.
Was it?
I don't remember.
I thought it was 73.
No.
No?
No.
Okay.
Because Halloween 1 was like 79.
That's completely
Then
fair.
Halloween 2 was 81. So Halloween 3
Oh,
was
yeah,
82
I guess that,
or 83.
that is fair.
Yep.
Director, Stuart Gordon.
Yeah, he's back.
Yeah, It's also directed The Pin, the Pendulum. Writers on this, Dennis Paoli, once
He's
again.
back.
Also wrote The Dentist. Next writer, we haven't heard this one before, William Norris. This is like his only writing credit.
Oh, okay. That's so weird. I always find it interesting when people have like a movie you watch is like their only writing credit.
Yeah. It's the only writing credit. He does have a couple of like acting credits, but not a lot. One of his acting credits though is for Dr. Husos and The Pin, the Pendulum.
Okay.
Same movie is Gordon directed.
Is that a horror movie? Do you know?
It's an Edgar Allan Poe story.
Yeah, but I didn't know if it was like specifically horror.
I don't know about the movie, but like Poe's a gothic,
Yeah.
So,
I'm
you
aware
know,
of that, but
which is proto horror essentially. So
I just didn't know how heavily they leaned into that in the movie. If you'd seen it,
I haven't seen it, so I don't
Okay.
know. I guess it's
Horror
horror enough that it
adjacent,
could go on
probably.
this podcast if we really wanted it to.
okay. Well, I'm just saying if we ever want to do 3 Stuart Gordon movies in a row, we got Dolls, Pit and the Pendulum, and something else.
That's fair. What, Space Truckers?
We could watch Space Truckers.
And
I
then
don't recommend it.
finally, the last writer, Stuart Gordon. He's done Body Snatchers.
Oh, I forgot he did Body Snatchers.
You know how hard it is to like have the same actors and the same like directors, writers, like on 3 different movies.
It
and
can't be
have
that
to,
fucking hard.
But I have to like reference different things they're in.
Oh, that
So I
aren't
have
the
to
same
keep
thing.
going
yeah.
back and checking. Oh, it's a pain. All right. Budget estimated at $900,000. Box office $2,023,414.
Okay.
So that's more than double.
Yeah, it
Which
made
means it
some
made a
money.
profit.
That's good. I'm glad.
Country of origin, United States. The complete title in the U.S. is H.P. Lovecraft's Re-animator. I'm not going to give you the tagline because it's kind of spoilery. It is so good.
Okay.
Please remind me to give it to you after the film.
Yeah, we forgot last time, but
I
I'll
know.
try and remember this time.
And then I only have one like pre-movie fact because, again, I really like this movie, so I don't want to spoil anything.
Fair enough.
Do you really know anything about it?
I've said that I know things about it, but then I've been proven wrong. No.
What was the thing? Oh,
Yeah, I thought I knew what story this was, but I'm completely wrong. It was a different H.P. Lovecraft story.
yeah, you definitely haven't read this
Yeah, I
one.
had no idea.
Pre-movie fact. Gordon originally intended for this to be a stage adaptation.
Oh, for like a play?
Yeah.
That'd be cool.
But he eventually retooled it into an hour-long 13-episode TV show when he was told that like basically they couldn't do stage.
Whoa,
For this
that's
film.
interesting. Okay.
It was originally a 30-minute TV show, but they made it an hour long. However, he was then told that like there's no money for TV shows in the horror industry.
Yeah. Well, there is nowadays, but
There is nowadays, but
not
not
back
in the
then.
80s.
Yeah.
And so eventually the scripts he wrote were given to Brian Usna, who's like, I think the executive producer. But basically he convinced him to retool it into this movie, and then it got picked up. So kind of had a pretty big jump there.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's what I got for pre-movie facts. Do you want to wait on book comparison points till afterwards?
Oh, for sure. For sure.
Okay.
We'll save it. Actually, is the name of this movie the same as the short story, I assume? Or the name's different?
Sort of different, but that's
Okay.
because there's more stuff tacked on to the book name.
Okay. So you can't spoil it yet? You'll save it?
Yeah, I'll save it.
Okay. Cool. I just wanted to ask before we started.
I mean,
I
I
just
can,
wanted to know.
there's no spoilers in the name. If you want, I can give you that now.
No, we can hold. We can wait.
All right. The only thing I want to mention before we start, not really a spoiler, but like kind of something. There is sequels to this movie.
Huh?
Yeah.
There's more than one of these?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
We're not watching them today,
Damn you.
mostly because they don't have the trifecta needed to be
yeah.
a part of this.
You're right. They don't. We don't have
Um,
everybody. It's not a party till
so-
the gang's here.
You know, I didn't feel like adding them. Also, because the second one is the second and third one are not as good as the first one.
Yeah, of course.
I really, really like the second one though.
Okay. Maybe we'll watch them one day.
Yeah,
One of these days.
I was already going for the bit, and I was like, I don't want to break it. So
Your commitment to the bit was too much.
yeah, kind of backfired there.
But that's okay. We'll be fine.
But I'll talk more about the sequels, I think, afterwards.
Okay. That's interesting.
I
I'm
just
excited.
wanted to let everyone know that there won't be another episode.
All right. Well, I guess we'll see you guys after the movie.
Yeah, see you in a bit.
Hi, everybody. Welcome back. We just finished watching The Re-animator.
Yeah. Except you don't have to
yeah.
put that pause at the beginning. It's just Re-animator.
Oh, it's just Re-animator, not The Re-animator.
Well, no, it's not just Re-animator. It's Re-animator.
You bitch. You know what I mean.
Yeah, it's Re-animator.
Okay.
Yeah.
I messed up the last one too because I thought it was the cut of the dead, not one cut of the dead. Or I thought it was a cut of the dead, not one cut of the dead, but it's one cut of the dead, and this is just Re-animator.
It's
Movie titles are kind of hard.
It's Re-animator.
Oh, I thought it was one word.
No.
Okay. Didn't know
Because
that.
it's like reanimate.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know what you mean.
That's one word, but this is like animator, but Re-animator.
okay.
It's
Cool.
it's hyphenated.
Yeah, it's a hyphen. You're an English major, bro. I don't know.
Yeah,
Fucking.
but I know how to do English from experience.
Fair enough.
Like somewhat sidetracked. I know we're supposed to be reviewing a movie.
Yeah.
A lot of like my English skills come from like reading experience and knowing if something looks correct.
Same. There are so many words that I had never heard spoken out loud before, and when I heard the way they were spoken, I went, "That's not how you say that word," because that's not how I read it in my head.
Oh my god, I always love bits where they make fun of the English language and how
Oh, man.
nonsensical it is because it's
It's insane.
It's just a Frankenstein of a language,
Yeah.
which is just a perfect transition to this movie, which is Lovecraft's version of Frankenstein.
I would say
So-
that's accurate. Here's a question.
What do you think?
Oh, damn. I'll ask you later.
Yeah.
Because that's a good talking point. I think that's an interesting talking point. I like this movie.
You did.
It's cool.
Yeah, I really like this movie. Too.
Yeah. So, like, a lot of the time when you pitch to me something about, like, oh, yeah, I really like this movie, it's usually a mixed bag for me. This is one of the ones where we started and I went, yeah.
Like what?
I'm trying to think of something you liked. Like, it's not like it's more of a like sometimes you say you like something and I go out of it like that's okay. You know what I mean?
I know, but like, what movies are you referring to? Because are you saying like before we watch them, I go, I like this movie?
Yeah. And sometimes it's like I go, okay, that movie's okay. Like I get why Ben likes it, but it's not for me. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but I'm trying to think of what movies.
I am too because
'Cause
it's
I don't-
happened.
I'm sure it's happened, but what I will say is my like I really like this movie is different from just I like this movie.
Yeah, that's fair.
So that might be the case previously, is I just like the movie, but I really like Re-animator. I think Re-animator is really good.
Honestly, understandably so after watching it.
Do you have anything you want to say before we kind of get into it?
Look, all I have to say is Stuart Gordon doesn't miss. Horny movie. He hits it every time. He nails it. How is this man make such horny movies?
I don't think it's Stuart Gordon per se. I think it's the film culture he comes from,
Fair enough.
because I screen movies to try and get like better, higher quality movies on the show.
Sure.
At least so far, right?
Yeah, we've
As
seen
we-
some bad movies.
As we keep going, we kind of filter in some lower quality stuff, which
Yeah,
I like B movies,
I do too. That's one of my favorite types of movies.
but we haven't really gotten many.
Yeah, we haven't done really B movies. We've
Except
done
for
bad movies.
Night of the Lepus.
I consider that
That's
a B movie,
movie.
and that movie's awesome. I love
it's
that
great.
movie.
I love B movies. Objectively not great.
Yeah.
But he admitted it. Objectively not great, but it's fun. However, there's like I want to say a culture in that style of filmmaking, but like tropes that you see,
Yeah.
and especially in horror, like kind of schlockier horror,
Mhm.
especially from like the 80s, the 90s. Gratuitous nudity and stuff was a big deal.
Yeah, this movie's full of nudity.
So like
So much.
the horniness that you keep seeing in Stuart Gordon's movies is it's from that. Like that's the type of director he's from. That's who he works with.
Well,
So it just comes through.
I also think, and this is something like, I'm not going to say that these movies are, what's the word for it? They are horny for a reason. I
Yeah.
find like their use of sex as a way to make you uncomfortable with the situation you're experiencing is really, 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 really good.
Yeah,
And it makes sense in all the movies that he's made. I'm just putting it out there. Still a horny movie.
fair enough. And you're completely right. The sex and nudity in these 3 Lovecraft films we've watched, all by Stuart Gordon, hasn't been like nudity for nudity's sake.
No, it is nudity to make you uncomfortable.
And it's a part of the plot.
It is a part of the plot, and it makes total sense too. Like I enjoy it. It's just like I guess for me, it's something that I've never really experienced because like I don't watch movies outside of this podcast
No,
really.
you don't.
So when we open a movie and there's like the opening scene has boobs in it, I'm like, oh my god, we're opening with this.
Yeah, and I think that's a hard thing to come by because it's hard to do. I don't want to say classy because it's not necessarily classy.
No, it's
but, like,
not.
sex and nudity that's
Not gratuitous.
worth it.
Yeah,
like,
it's
makes
worth it.
sense.
It makes sense. I totally understand why they did it.
That's hard to do in a film, especially like a horror film. So good on him. And it's always interesting to see because like all that stuff can be scary in its
Yes.
own way.
Absolutely.
With that being said, I think before we get into this movie,
I have other stuff I want to talk about before we get into spoilers anyway.
oh, do you?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, since we're on the topic of sex and nudity, I'm just gonna give a little disclaimer here. There was something in this movie that made Bob really, really uncomfortable.
Yes.
So, it involves, sex stuff. I don't want to spoil anything.
I don't either.
But
Let's just say, warning if sex stuff makes you uncomfortable.
yeah,
Because I was like,
Bob was more
Wide-eyed.
uncomfortable than he normally is on the show.
I don't think anything's made me that uncomfortable.
like very, very, very uncomfortable.
I did almost throw up too.
Yeah, but that was at a different.
That was I'm just putting it out there.
I
Gag
know,
warning.
but you sound like you're talking about that.
No.
Anyways, just a heads up there
Yeah,
for
for sure.
anyone who has issues with stuff like that.
Nudity warning. Lots of nudity in this movie.
I mean, yeah, if you couldn't figure that out.
Yeah, I
already.
mean, well, I'm just saying, like, at least when it comes to stuff like the first 2 movies of Stuart Gordon's that we watched, there was nudity, but it was only certain characters. There are a lot of nude people in this movie.
that is true.
A lot
Mostly-
of individual.
mostly
nude-
men.
It's a lot. There's a lot of background dong, which I appreciate because you don't see a lot of dong in
They
movies.
cover most of it with light and shadow.
That is something I want to talk about. Is they do a really good job of not making it feel over the top by just having it like swinging in the wind. They actually use shadows and like stuff to cover genitalia really well in this movie.
Basically, they tried to show as little as they could.
Yeah, but gave you enough to where it's still poignant, I guess.
I think they just couldn't hide it at times.
Fair enough.
Because they tried to hide it with like body motions.
Mhm.
Like people would move their leg up slightly,
Mm-hmm.
and you can't do that every time. I think there just might have been a couple penises that slipped in there.
Yeah. Let's see. Something else I want to talk. That scared the shit out of me, by the way. I did not expect that to happen. Ben just made a motion that is a spoiler. Man, Jeffrey Combs in this movie. Holy shit.
Yeah, Jeffrey Combs is Herbert West.
That's
He's
the
great.
best performance I've seen
That's
him
just
give.
how I think of Jeffrey Combs. Just putting that out there. So
Sure.
if anyone's seen this movie, or if you haven't, and you're a fan of Jeffrey Combs,
You
he's
should
great
check it
in this
out.
film because, like, at least in horror movies, Jeffrey Combs has a tendency to do a very good job at acting unhinged.
Mm-hmm.
And Herbert West is a mad scientist, so
Yeah, essentially.
letting Jeffrey Combs go wild on that, it's so great. And
So good.
like I've told Bob before, there's a reason I go, oh, it's Herbert West, and not, oh, it's Jeffrey Combs
Yeah. That's
when
completely
I see
fair.
the actor.
He does such a good job in this film of playing the mad scientist type and being an unhinged maniac, but also there are entire moments where you realize he thinks what he's doing is right.
Yeah, it's mad scientist, bud.
And it's so cool because it's this moment of like, I don't know, I guess it made me sympathize with the character more and be like, I know what he's doing is fucked up, but he might be right. Maybe. And also, he has some really killer one-liners
Oh yeah,
that are so funny.
He's
Whoever
very
wrote
funny.
his dialogue did such a good job.
Yeah.
Like, so good. Anything else we want to talk about before we get to spoilers?
no, I just kind of want to get into it. Do you have anything?
Nothing that I can't talk about later.
So I'm gonna go pretty quick here. The rough premise is that Dan Kane is a
Medical student.
medical student, but he graduated from college, so he's in med school.
Yeah, I think he's in med school working at a
Which
hospital.
there's a name for that though.
Oh,
If you're working at a hospital, you're a
oh my God.
right?
There's a word for it. I don't know what
Or
it
is
is
he
though.
still in med school? He's probably still in med school.
He's still in med school because remember he was in class.
Oh yeah, so that's different. Never mind.
Yeah,
Long story short, Kane's working at I guess a teaching hospital
yeah.
at Miskatonic University
Mhm.
in Arkham, Massachusetts, which is like, if anyone's familiar with Lovecraft, that's kind of like that's his baby. Like that area
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
is his baby. That's where he sets a lot of stuff. Is at Miskatonic and
Yeah,
Arkham
yeah.
and stuff like that.
Massachusetts, very
Yeah,
common.
but it's like that fictional town and that
mm-hmm. Yeah,
fictional
yeah.
university. And he's at that hospital. He's working, and Dan is actually dating the daughter of the dean of this teaching hospital,
Mm-hmm.
Megan.
Yep.
Hales, right?
Halsey.
Halsey, that's it. And, they're having a good relationship. And then one day, a new man comes to campus, Mr. Herbert West from Switzerland,
Oh man.
where, he was learning there under this guy, Hans Gruber.
Yep.
But, he's learned all he can from Hans Gruber,
So he's moved on.
mostly because we saw him die in the cold open.
I was about to say we didn't talk about how good the cold open was.
And, long story short, Dan's low on money and he needs a roommate. And Mr. West is like,
Yeah, I can cover
I'll
rent.
pay first of the month. Just let me have this room, some privacy, and your basement to do some mad experiments in.
Yep.
Uh,
And you know what? I'd take the deal.
yeah, it's a pretty good deal. He pays him in cash, which is pretty great.
He pays him in cash and goes, "You'll never see me."
Yeah, great roommate right there.
Great roommate.
Long story short, he's got this glowing reagent
Calls it a reagent.
that brings things back to life, and lo and behold, Herbert West essentially ropes Dan
And
into
Megan.
helping him in his experiments. And Megan's
Around.
nosy as hell and keeps
Super
involving
nosy.
herself to disastrous consequences. Because
Disastrous
basically
consequences.
everything that goes wrong in this movie originates from Megan being nosy.
Sticking her nose where it does not belong.
I do get why she does it, but
For sure.
consequences.
Consequences of her own actions.
And eventually things start to snowball and spiral, and
Things get out of hand so fast.
yeah, that's the rough overview.
Yeah, I think we leave it at that because there's some stuff that, like, man, the end of this movie.
Yeah, I will say this is one of those movies where like you can know that premise,
Mm-hmm. For sure.
you can have a good idea of what's gonna happen,
Still cool.
but it's still cool because of the practical effects used throughout this
Oh
film.
my god, so good. This might be, I guess I do say this a lot. This might be the best practicals we've seen in a movie yet. I'm trying to think of a movie that did something better. You know what I mean?
Well, it depends. For like, I'd say gore, maybe.
Yeah.
There's been some better practicals on different things, but different movies have different specialties.
Mm-hmm.
Like Itsy Bitsy, not a great film,
No, but that
but
is
its creature
crazy.
practicals
Or
on
insane.
the spider are very good.
Crazy shit. Love that.
And on this movie, the idea is like the practicals on gore are very good,
Mm-hmm.
and just some of its technical practicalities too.
It's just kind. I don't want to spoil something, but there's something I do want to talk about because it's super, super dope. Because I don't really see it in other movies. This is one of the only movies where I've seen it really happen. But when they're like, let me put it this way: people get thrown, not people,
Things get thrown against walls.
and the impact they always leave is so cool.
Yeah, there's like a bloody imprint.
Or like chunks of it or something. Or
Yep.
like and it's like I don't see that in other movies. You know what I mean? Like the pure viscera of this film.
It's just an attention to detail that most films don't have.
Exactly.
It's also just blatant gore, which you have to worry about when you're going through like the censor board.
Yeah.
Which this
I mean,
movie's unrated, so
I
I
was about
didn't
to
have
say,
to worry.
That's why this one version's unrated for sure. Like they set up so much stuff early on in the film, like in the first like, I don't know, 20 minutes that you don't see come back around till the end of the movie. And it's really fucking cool. I'm trying not to spoil it, but you know what I'm talking about.
I mean, we can probably start spoiling it now because we're gonna have to talk about it.
Yeah, I know.
So, you ready?
Yeah.
For I guess this is the final warning. If you don't want any like big spoilers,
Yeah, any major spoilers. Because I'm going to say right now, go check this movie out. It's on Shudder. Like,
it's on Shudder. I'm sure you can rent it places.
if you liked From Beyond, that episode, or Castle Freak, I would say this is the best of the three.
Yeah, it's definitely better.
Yeah. Like, I like From Beyond a lot. That movie's cool. Castle Freak is fine. This movie, top tier.
All right, what did you want to say? You were referencing they did stuff in the beginning that
So-
comes back later.
At the beginning of the movie, we see very early on Dan Kane dropping someone off in the morgue.
Yeah.
And they, like, go through, and he, like, drops off this lady. And later on in the movie, actually, whatever. Later on in the movie, him and Herbert go in there, and they're trying to find a person to reanimate with the reagent. Because they're like, okay, the last guy we tried to reanimate didn't go so well because he wasn't fresh enough. So we're trying to find the freshest corpse possible to reanimate, just to test. Because basically, they're both being kicked out of school for, like, getting caught up in this BS with...
No, they're going into the morgue to test it on a human.
Yeah.
They just tested it on an animal.
Mhm.
They haven't done a human test yet.
Oh, I thought he said he had done it on humans, but it like they need a fresher corpse because it didn't work or whatever.
Nah, I don't think they've tested it on a human.
I thought he did test it on a human.
I don't think he tells Dan that.
He doesn't tell Dan that. But anyway, they're in the morgue looking for a corpse to test on stuff, and they're trying to find a body that's mostly put together so that it doesn't have any like outside issues, right? And they're going through and they're reading all these medical tags. They're like burn victim, meatball. I didn't understand that one.
Like he got eviscerated by something.
Ah, that makes sense. There was a bunch of other ones. Heart failure was one of them. And then there's the lady that Dan had taken in there earlier on in the movie.
Yep.
Way later in the movie, probably, I don't know,
Very end.
very end of the movie, all of those people that they had taken out on those morgues get brought back as zombies.
You know, it's the classic idea of, what, Chekhov's gun?
Yeah. And they all have crazy practical makeup to match their injuries.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's the burn victims all, like, flayed and burnt and crispy looking and, like, gross. The dude that was the meatballs, like, got flesh flayed off of him and, like,
Yeah.
disgusting. And it's, like, the attention to detail of that. Like, that just seems like a throwaway line of, like, oh, yeah, they have to be talking about something during the scene. They might as well explain it.
Well,
But to bring all those things back and make them scary,
it's just good writing, because, like,
it's good.
you don't have to say all the injuries these people
Mhm.
have. You could just do the makeup and show all these random dead bodies at the
Yeah,
end.
for sure.
But giving us, like, their injuries and their manner of death before the very end of the movie makes it feel well-earned when you show those things.
For
later.
sure. Absolutely.
And you
It's
don't
one of the
have to
coolest parts
do
of the movie.
that in a film when you're writing it.
Mhm.
So the fact that they did it's good writing.
It's so cool. I just appreciate the bringing all that stuff back around. I just enjoy it.
And I think that's just a thing with this film is good writing, which is something we saw in From Beyond as well.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, it's the same writing team plus a new guy, but still.
Yeah.
Kind of backtracking a little bit to the practical effects here.
Mm-hmm.
Lots of blood used in this film.
Lots of blood.
I have a number.
In gallons?
Yes.
Awesome. So cool. Yeah, this movie's incredibly bloody.
Yeah, I mean, the gore effects here are kind of the main focus of the film because, again, it's reanimating bodies, but it's not like bringing them back perfectly.
Yeah.
They're in the state they were when they died,
Mm-hmm.
or at the very least, they're in the state they were when you inject them with the reagent, so they don't look great. but 24 gallons of fake blood.
Ooh,
used.
that's a lot.
Yeah.
God damn. What's that? Almost 5 gallon buckets full? Jesus Christ.
1 gallon short.
Yeah, holy crap, that's a lot of blood. Makes sense though.
Yeah.
Like I would
Especially because something we haven't mentioned, things that are reanimated aren't exactly like all peace and love, man. They're all like,
nah.
they're angry.
Some of them are angry.
They're kind of feral.
Yeah. I mean like your classic zombie. Kinda.
Yes, except super, super strong.
Super strong and not flesh eating.
Yeah. Wow.
Well, they don't really
They
try
bite.
bite, but they're not their goal is not to eat
No.
you.
Again, I describe them as feral animals.
Yeah. Less like
Their brain function has deteriorated as their brain rots.
yeah, that makes sense.
With that being said, way stronger than they were in life. There's one really good scene where a guy breaks down a steel door.
He like burst through a steel freezer door, and it's incredible.
Yeah.
Such a good moment. I think that like I like the zombie creatures in this film a lot, mostly because they're unique in that we don't really see anything. Most zombie films is like, oh, they're flesh-eating monsters, but in this it's like, no, they're still people.
No, I'd say
Fairly.
I describe I'm just going to call them zombies.
I mean, yeah,
For
they're basically
ease.
zombies.
The zombies in this film I think are interesting because rather than being like zombies in the traditional sense, I think of these more as just corpses.
Yeah.
They're just corpses. They're
Well,
moving corpses.
I was gonna say like I feel like the use of them, like them having super strength in that moment, solidifies how actually fucking terrifying these things are.
Yeah.
Because you're like, oh, this thing could rip me limb from limb if it wanted to.
Mm-hmm.
And that is like that's just something that I find in a lot of other zombie movies. You're more afraid of the numbers and less afraid of the individual, but in this it's like every single one of them is scary.
Yeah, and I think that has to do with the fact that the reagent that Herbert West is using it's maybe doing stuff besides just bringing you back to life.
Yeah.
Like it's maybe giving them super strength.
Mm-hmm.
There's some hints that there's maybe some telekinesis or something
Yeah, some
going
weird
on.
like psychic connection,
Don't
which is
know
interesting.
about that. Do you have anything else that note on that?
On the gore and practicals and zombies and stuff.
Because I have one more thing to note.
I don't have anything, so go for it.
Next biggest thing, and this is kind of a big spoiler for the movie.
I was wondering if we were going to talk about it.
There's a character in this film
Mm-hmm.
who ends up getting his head chopped off.
Yeah.
And Herbert West, like the mad scientist he is, injects both the head
And the body.
and the body with serum. And so for the rest of the movie, this mad cadaver is tromping around, like attacking people and stuff, but he's like holding his head
In like a medical tray.
in a medical tray or like right on his chest.
Yep.
Very convincing, like fake head, first of all.
Very, very good fake head.
But also most of the time it's a real head.
Yeah.
And I just want to note right now that that's all practical effects.
Mm-hmm.
And it's insane because of the lengths the actor had to go through to like do that.
Yeah, man.
So for all the scenes where he's in a tray on the table, those are like fake bottom tables.
Yep. And he's like stuck up under them, sticking his head through.
There's a couple scenes where his body is holding his own real head
Yeah.
and like moving about. How they did those is they built like an extra torso on top of him and he
Mhm.
squatted. So I just want to say practical effects in this are great. And
They're
I just
so
wanted
cool.
to mention that.
They are so cool, man. Like some of the best stuff I've seen in a movie ever. Also, did you catch the homage to The Exorcist near the end of the movie?
Yeah, with the backlit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Super cool. Love stuff like that in movies. What's really, really cool about that head practical, and something I enjoy a lot, is most of the time when you see someone's head get cut off in a movie, it's like a clean cut. The viscera that hangs from the bottom of his neck
Yeah.
when his head's being like toted around by his body.
It's also on the body too.
Yeah, it's so good. It's like incredible. It looks awesome. It's it's probably the best head practical I've ever seen. I will keep talking about it because it's crazy. But this movie's just full of crazy shit like that, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, I think we can go on and on about
We can keep
practical effects. Just point being, they're very well done. They did a lot to get them done really well,
Mhm.
and they really tried, and you can tell. I think the last thing I want to mention about practicals, and then I think we have to move on, or we'll just kind of keep talking in a circle,
Yeah, we'll keep talking.
is about the reagent. Bob, do you want to describe what
Oh
the
my
reagent
God.
looked like?
This motherfucker. Okay, so the movie begins, and we're in oh my God.
Switzerland?
No, we're not in Switzerland. We're in how did I forget his fucking name? Already. We're in Herbert.
How did you forget Herbert West's name?
I don't know. I genuinely don't know. I was thinking H, and I kept going to Henry, but I was like, it's not Henry. We're in Herbert West's lab for the first time, or his room. And, of course, Megan's snooping around. Per usual. As she does.
Per usual.
And she pops open his little fridge that he keeps in his room. and there's a glowing green vial of like fluorescent like green liquid
Yeah.
glowing in the bottom of his fridge. And I go, Ben, what's that? And you're like, nothing. That's nothing. What are you talking about? I'm like, there's a green glowing liquid down there. What the hell is that?
Yeah.
It's like violently caustically green,
Yeah, it's glowing green.
like hardcore. And I was like, oh, they must have did that in post.
Nope.
No. What the hell is that stuff?
Okay, first of all, I want to mention you see it in the cold open too, and you just didn't
Didn't catch
comprehend
it.
it. Yeah.
Yeah, well,
Which I thought was surprising because it's glowing green.
Yeah. I'm blind.
Do you have any guess about what that is?
Well, I assume they just emptied a bunch of glow sticks into a jar.
Yes, they did.
Yep. That
Yeah.
makes sense.
The reagent, the glowing green stuff, it's just glow stick fluid.
Yep. Makes sense.
Interestingly enough, if you stick glow sticks in like a cold environment, like a fridge or a freezer, it slows down the chemical reaction,
Oh,
so it glows longer. So
oh.
basically, they emptied a crap ton of them into a bottle
Yep.
and then threw it in like a freezer between takes and would take it out when they needed it.
That's cool. It's a really cool effect. It looks really crazy in the film. Like, it genuinely looks really cool.
It looks like the perfect mad scientist liquid. It's so good. It stands out on film, which is even better.
It really stands out.
It is probably one of the best choices as far as practical effects in this movie go.
Yeah, for sure.
I think it's
I
the
understand
first
that.
thing people notice about this film. All right. Do you have anything else you want to talk about? Because I have something I really want to talk
Yeah,
about.
we can go with you because I'm. Oh, we're gonna save it for last.
Yeah.
Oh shit. Well, I gotta talk about something else then, huh?
Okay. Before we get to that, let me show you the cover of this movie.
Oh
But
yeah,
first,
I
the
forgot about this.
tagline.
The tagline.
Herbert West has a good head on his shoulders and another one on his desk.
Oh, that's good. That's a good one. That's a really, really good tagline.
Such a spoiler, right?
It is such a spoiler because that doesn't happen for a
You
while.
see the poster that's even more of a spoiler?
Sure.
It's, I think, one of the most stylized yet cool posters that we've
Okay.
seen so far.
Can I take your phone?
Yeah.
That's such a good, like, that's so good. Such a good poster. Spoilery as shit.
Oh, yeah.
So glad I didn't see that before the movie.
It will scare you to pieces. That's the
That's
second tagline.
That's good.
Yeah,
That's
it's
so good.
really, really good one. This is the non-spoiler one, which is a lot. Well, no, that's the second movie. Never mind. Here's another one. Not as bad.
Nah, that doesn't spoil anything, but it's still a cool poster.
Yeah, there you go. There's the tagline stuff. I said I would do that, and I did
Yeah,
it.
thank
We
you. Thank
remembered
you for
this time.
remembering this time, yeah. I think we said we'd do that on what? Castle Freak or From Beyond, and we just forgot.
Something.
It was Castle Freak. Oh, boy. What else to talk about in this movie? That I don't want to spoil anything. I will say, I mentioned earlier, the end of this movie is super good.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I like this movie. The end brought it up a level for me.
Oh, no. This movie's one of those films where it's like a slow... It's like a snowball rolling down a hill
Mm-hmm.
where it gets bigger and bigger. And you can see it happening.
Oh,
right?
for
Like,
sure.
you know what's happening. But basically, things escalate, and they escalate, and they escalate. And you know it's all just going to get worse.
Nothing gets better. Also, once again, amazing end to an H.P. Lovecraft story. Like, I don't know if that's how the book ends, but I think that's a fitting end to an H.P. Lovecraft story.
Yeah.
Like, in my opinion.
I mean, I think generally this whole movie's a pretty good
Yeah.
adaptation.
I mean, yeah.
Well, not adaptation, but a pretty good, like, story.
I think that's all I got, Ben.
That's all you got?
I think that's all I got.
All right.
There's nothing else I want to talk about because it's too spoilery. Because we've kind of avoided the major stuff.
I know. We've kind of just talked about the effects of this movie, which are great.
Because that's one of the coolest things about it.
And we've talked about, Jeffrey Combs, who does an amazing
Amazing
performance. So if that's all you got, that's completely fine. Because I don't want to, like, spoil everything.
Yeah, I don't want to talk about...
Because a lot of this movie is the shock factor.
Yes.
Because it looks good, but it's a lot of things you'd expect from a Frankenstein movie, essentially.
Yeah.
The thing I want to mention before we move on to, like, talking about the book versus the movie
Mhm.
and whatever questions you have about that is the relationship between Dan Kane
Oh, okay.
and Herbert West.
Okay. Okay.
Now,
Thought you were going to go somewhere else, and I was going to be really upset.
oh, yeah, we're just not gonna touch
We're just
on
going
that.
to talk that. No, absolutely not.
That's related to the uncomfortable sexual moments in this film.
Mm-hmm.
It can be uncomfortable.
It can be really uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Uncomfortable warning.
Anyways, yeah, so the relationship between Dan Kane and Herbert West. And I'm just going to put this out here. This is not my view of their relationship, but I know it is a read that some people have
Okay.
of Dan Kane and Herbert West having an almost, let's say, romantic relationship.
Where does that come from?
They're kind of weirdly codependent.
Yeah, but I think that's mostly because Dan doesn't know what the fuck he's gotten himself
and
into.
Herbert West is a little
Batshit?
obsessive about Dan
That's fair.
and also dislikes Dan's girlfriend.
Oh, man. Okay, well, hold on. I hadn't really considered. Maybe
So that's a read I've heard, right?
I could see it.
And I get why people see that. If you haven't seen the film, obviously you probably
but
don't
I
know
think
what
it's a
we're
very
talking about.
one-sided relationship.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think Dan gives a shit.
Well, no, Dan's kind of weirdly into Herbert's stuff, but
Well,
that's also because he's a doctor.
yeah,
But at the same time, he's the only one who's kind of
not crazy.
into Dan's or into
Oh.
West's stuff.
Yeah,
Like
I
everyone
guess.
else kind of dismisses West, and Dan's kind of like,
Well,
I
it's
don't
because he's
know.
the only one that's really seen what it can do without getting murked.
well, theoretically, other people have seen it.
Well,
No one in this
theoretically.
film, but
Yeah.
All right, so that's a read people have. That's not the read I
I
have.
think it's an interesting read
It
for
is
sure.
an interesting read. Not to toot my own horn, I think I have a better one.
God damn it. Okay.
All right, so when I watch this film,
Mhm.
Herbert West to me comes off as sociopathic.
For sure. I
Right.
could see that. Yeah.
He's very much obsessed with his work and doesn't really get human emotions outside of that.
Nope.
And a lot of his behavior is emotionless unless he's manipulating someone
Yeah.
or lying or whatever
Or being angry.
or being angry. But he's just obsessive, controlling, and stuff like that. Basically, I watch him, and as just a normal person, I look at him and I go, that's a psychopath.
For sure.
You know? Straight up sociopath. Probably not psychopathic per se. He's not obsessed with, like, killing and murder, as we generally associate with psychopaths,
Yeah.
but he is obsessed with his work, and he's willing to go to
Extreme lengths.
extreme lengths for that. And I will put
Mhm.
that out there. But something interesting about, like, I think it's sociopaths, but it could be psychopaths. Either way, is that, like, they can have, I guess the closest word is pets. So rather than loved ones, but, like, you know, pets.
Mm-hmm.
And the idea is they have someone who's, like, they like in the same way you like your dog.
Oh, that's fucked up.
Because it's like, you don't necessarily love them, but
But the slander he's talking about, you Piper?
they don't necessarily love them, but they do, like, enjoy, like, keeping
Having
them
something around? Yeah. I know what you mean.
And that is my read on what Herbert West views Dan as. Dan's like his little sidekick puppet
That's fair.
that he's attached himself to and enjoys, like, showing his work off and being like,
Mhm.
look at me, I'm a genius, idolize me. And that's why
Makes
he's, like,
sense.
so against, like, Megan kind of getting in the way of that because he's like, she's distracting my little minion away from me.
Yeah.
We can't be having that.
That's fair.
Anyways, that's my read on that.
No, that's good. That makes sense. Totally makes sense. Especially for the way, like, how do I put this? There are moments where Dan definitely is in over his head. It doesn't really know what to do in the situation because Herbert has gotten him mixed up in some crazy
Oh
shit.
my god, yeah.
And Herbert very much like I don't know, treat my dog, walks up and like puts a blanket on him and says,
Yeah.
it's just shock. Don't worry about it.
That's-
We'll fix it.
One of the moments I want to mention is, like, I think part of the reason I have that read is because Herbert West does things to Dan that if he is, like, an actually manipulative character and not just, like, lucking into these things,
Mm-hmm.
he is specifically doing certain things to make Dan dependent on him. And yeah, you
Yeah.
could see that as, like, a weird, obsessive, controlling lover. But I just see it as a man who, like, wants to control this other person.
Yeah, I don't think there's
Um,
anything
Like,
like.
I don't think it's sexual. I think
I don't
it's-
think so either.
I think it's straight up, he's a psychopath, but he wants to control this person because he's, for some reason, latched onto him.
Well, I think the reason he latches onto him is A, because it's easy because he's your roommate.
Yeah.
And he's around. But B, I don't really know if he has a choice because once Megan and Kane discover all of his shit, it's like, okay, I have to get rid of her, but I can keep him around.
Fair. I'd like to say it's probably the fact that Dan is probably the first peer West has had that's taken him seriously
That's probably
and given
true.
him, like, the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah.
Because, like, most people go, this is a crazy person. Dan goes, you know what, you can live with me. I'm just going to leave you alone. I respect you.
Yeah. That's fair.
And then, you know, West slowly realizes he can manipulate this person. And he's like, oh, he can help me.
Yeah.
And, oh, he thinks I'm smart.
I think another thing is like also, at least from my point of view, and I guess it's kind of continued in the end of the movie, I think slowly throughout the movie, West realizes, oh, I'm not immortal. Like, I will die. I need someone or something to have this research so that when I die, or if this goes poorly, because it does go poorly, I need someone to continue my research and have access to this thing. So I think he saw in Dan and him a way to continue if his research got out of hand.
I'm going to be honest here.
Yeah?
I like where you're coming from, Bob.
Yeah.
I don't think so.
You don't think so?
No, I think Herbert West believes he's immortal. I think he views Dan as, like, the backup in case anything goes wrong to, like, protect his research and him.
Yeah.
But I do think Herbert West views himself as kind of immortal. Because, I mean, he's perfecting the research to bring back the dead.
Mhm.
That is classic God complex right
Oh,
there.
for sure.
This man definitely doesn't think he's going to die.
Oh, yeah.
Or if he does think he's going to die, he's just going to bring himself back.
He's just going to get brought back,
Um,
yeah. I guess more of a security measure, because, like, in my mind at least, that's kind of a spoiler. Never mind.
Go
keep
ahead
my
and
mouth
say
shut.
it. No, go ahead and say it.
At the end of the movie,
Mm-hmm.
when Dan and Megan escape, assumedly West dies. We don't see what happens to West. He more than likely dies. I assume that he just thinks, oh, when I die, Dan has the serum. He's just going to bring me back. He's just going to bring me back if, like, it's possible.
Yeah.
Right? That would be my thought.
So, remember how I said this movie has sequels? Guess who lives?
No way.
Yeah, Herbert West lives.
What? We're not... Oh!
That's not like a big shocker. Like if you know anything about the next movie.
I didn't know anything about the next movie. That's crazy.
I mean, if you like look up the movies, yeah, it's Herbert West. You can't have a Re-animator film without Herbert West.
Damn him. Damn him, that bastard man.
Yeah, no, I think he just views basically at the end of the film where it looks like he's dying.
Yeah.
Really, what's happening is Herbert West is being attacked by a reanimated corpse,
Mm-hmm. A lot of reanimated corpses.
and he can't get away from like the bad stuff that's happening.
Yeah.
So he has Dan take his research.
Mm-hmm.
In that moment, I don't think Herbert West necessarily thinks he's gonna die. I think he's just worried about his research being destroyed,
Fair enough.
and he's just having Dan take it just
You don't
in case.
think that he views Dan as an extension of, like, his legacy if he were to die, though? Because, I mean, for me at least, that's where, like, that would be my main reason to want... Because, like, if you think your research is so important, would you not have a backup plan?
that would be my main like thought process if I was a normal person.
But he's not a normal
But
person.
I think he has a god complex to the point where like he doesn't think he's gonna die. I mean, Dan
Yeah.
might be the backup plan of like, if I do die,
Mm-hmm.
he's the one who brings me back.
Yeah, of course.
But he doesn't think he's gonna die. So I think Dan's like kind of just backup.
And also, like, at that point in the film, we've kind of I don't know, what more like, how do I put this? We realized that we've only seen one corpse brought back that still maintained a semblance of consciousness, that was not, just feral animal.
Yeah, and that seems to be luck.
Maybe.
No, because we've seen corpses that fresh.
Yeah, I guess it might have been luck.
But yeah, on the matter of sequels, there's two.
Okay,
There's a second one and a third one.
I know you said you'd like the second one.
Like the second one, I haven't seen the third one.
Oh shit,
I haven't seen that one yet.
maybe we'll get around to him.
Second one's pretty good though.
Yeah.
It's not as well rated, but it's continuing the tradition of Frankenstein. Do you want me to tell you the name of it? Because that'll tell you enough to know. So
Sure.
you're gonna hear the name of it eventually. So
Yeah.
might as well. Bride of Re-animator.
Yep.
In clear reference to.
Oh, Bride of Frankenstein.
Yeah.
That's really cool, actually. I wonder who that is, though. Well, actually, hold on. I'm dumb. Clearly.
Or are you?
If it's not, I'll be surprised. Because if it's a sequel, it better explain what happens at the end of the movie. Because if it doesn't, I'll be
The
pissed.
ending is very ambiguous.
Super ambiguous.
Especially like the part where it seems like Herbert dies.
Yeah.
I think because this whole film was written as a standalone film and not a
Sequel.
this is gonna have a sequel.
Yeah.
But this film ended up doing well enough to get one. So
Yeah.
there is some confusion there. I will say the ending makes this hard to view as a multiple film, but it's not too bad.
Fair enough.
You want to do book comparison stuff?
Yeah, man, I'm really interested in the book now.
All right. So the film is based on H.P. Lovecraft's short story Herbert West, Re-animator.
Oh, okay.
I mean, yeah, pretty much the same. Which was written between October 1921 and June 1922, and serialized in Homebrew Volume 1 between February and July 1922. So this is a very interesting short story in that it is divided into multiple parts.
Whoa, okay. That's cool.
So I'd say it's kind of like chapters, except there's pretty decent time jumps between some of them.
Okay.
The idea being like this part of the story would be in issue 1 and this part of the story would be in issue 2.
Mm-hmm.
I believe it was in issues 1 through 6 of Volume 1 of Homebrew,
Okay.
which was a magazine run by one of Lovecraft's friends, I believe.
Oh, how nice.
Well, don't say how nice. He was getting paid.
Well, no, I'm just saying, like, good for him for having friends that have magazines he can publish in.
I mean, yeah, but you're like a writer, so.
yeah.
And like that's how a lot of horror, but especially Lovecraft's works got published back in the day.
Yeah.
It's kind of a publishing style.
It doesn't really exist anymore because no one buys magazines.
It does, but it's not like the same mainstream style of consuming like stories.
Yeah.
As it was.
Fair enough.
Now the story kind of different. Let
Yeah.
me stress that there. It follows the perspective of a narrator who's like detailing his time with Herbert West as like his assistant.
Oh, that's
as he
cool.
tries to perfect his reagent.
Which is basically what Dan is.
Yeah, essentially the narrator's Dan,
Makes sense.
and it's Dan in the future detailing his time. assisting Herbert West.
Oh God.
That's
okay.
essentially how it's told. Now, I think you were going to ask this question. Blatant homage to Mary Shelley's Frankenstein.
Yeah, has to be.
Apparently, in some letters that Lovecraft wrote, he references it being like a parody of it.
Okay.
The short story, I mean.
Yeah.
Not the movie. But like
I
there's
know.
some parody elements. And some just blatant homages. And I mean, that's pretty obvious.
Yeah.
I mean, he's bringing reanimated tissue to life.
Makes sense.
Frankenstein's kind of the originator of that.
For sure. For sure. I read Frankenstein in high school. It was one of the only books we read that year that I actually enjoyed.
It's decent.
It's a good book.
I like Dracula, too.
Never read Dracula.
Gothic horror is always fun.
Yeah.
Kind of last big note here, though, is Lovecraft was unhappy with Re-animator.
Really?
Yeah, he didn't like
It's one of
it.
his most popular stories.
I mean, it's fairly popular.
Well, okay. From my perspective, I guess
I
it's
mean,
the one
yeah.
I hear talked about the most.
I think that's because of this movie.
It's because of you.
Oh, well, that's fair.
You talk about it a lot, my guy.
I like this movie.
I know it's a good movie.
No, but Lovecraft didn't like the story he wrote.
Yeah.
And he claimed to only have written it because he was being paid $5 per installment, which is a
I was
lot.
about to say, that's a lot of money in the 1920s.
But I think the reason he didn't like it is because of how it turned out due to the requirements placed upon him.
I see.
So I haven't read it. It's one of the stories I haven't read, right? I have read some summaries, and I'll talk about that in a second, just to like ready up for this podcast. But apparently one of the things that happens in the story is like for each section, he had to like cover what happened in the last section, like again.
Oh my
Because
lord.
it's serialized in a magazine.
Yeah, so you didn't have context if you were just pick it up.
Yeah.
That's like at the beginning of they do this in anime. I'm going to complain about it. When they show you the end of the last episode at the beginning of the first episode, you know what I'm talking about? You ever witnessed that in
Most
an anime?
TV shows do that.
Dumb, and I hate it. Because like I guess back in the day if you were watching something on TV that makes sense because like you were watching it on a week-to-week basis. Maybe you missed last week's episode.
No, I mean that's a classic serialization thing that a lot of shows do.
Yeah, but now in the modern day like I don't see a point because like at least for me, I binge stuff a lot. So if I'm watching something, I just watch the episode right before. You know what I mean?
it tended to fall out of style.
When
In
I
the
assume
last
when
couple years or
streaming
so,
came
streaming
around,
got
yeah.
really, really big.
That's why I hate watching old anime because they do it a ton. It's super annoying.
You know, you could just say TV shows.
No, specifically anime does a lot though.
For you,
Yes,
most like TV shows do it.
really.
Yeah,
I've only ever witnessed it in anime.
says something different about you. But apparently, like that's something he had to deal with, and so
That is annoying as shit.
Yeah.
It
So,
would piss me off too.
I think that lowered like his experience with it.
Yeah, fair enough.
It might also be because it was a blatant parody as well that made him not like it as much. I have also heard it's one of those works that has a lot of his classic racism.
Oh, that's awesome.
So, you
I
know,
love
that's always
that.
great when you're reading Lovecraft. You have to deal with that.
Jesus Christ.
With that being said, I read like some summaries of the different chapters,
Mhm.
and I don't want to talk about too much in case you're actually going to go and read it.
Maybe.
It's probably pretty short. It's still technically a short
mean, yeah.
story.
A lot of his stuff is really short.
But it was interesting reading the summaries and going, oh, I see where they took that and that somehow ended up in the movie.
Well, that's good though. Like I enjoy
Yeah,
that kind
like-
of stuff.
Let me be honest. The basic premise comes from the story, but this is fairly different.
Well, yeah, it's also set in like a completely different like period.
Yeah, it's set in the modern era because it was too expensive to set it
If you had set this in the 20s, it'd be a completely
in like
different
the turn
movie.
of the century. Also, hospitals work different.
Yeah, exactly. Like
I
it would
don't
be
know
a very, very, very
if
different
you
film.
paid attention, but the teaching hospital in this film is kind of weird, and that's because it's kind of like a teaching hospital in the 1920s. And stuff.
Really? That's
It's
interesting.
just a little odd. Well, it's the idea that you had to do like a big experiment to get your doctorate kind of thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, you can see like where they took inspirations from different sections and then compiled them together to get this film,
That's really cool, actually.
which
I can
was cool to
appreciate
see
that.
reading like stuff about it.
Mm-hmm.
I can definitely see how this story would work really well as a serialized TV show, which is probably why Stuart Gordon did that originally, or not originally, but secondly.
Yeah, what he planned on doing with it.
Yeah, which is something I want to bring up right now. Would you like to see this as like a TV show?
It's interesting as an idea.
Maybe not this story, but like the original one.
That would be cool.
Because that one has, not to describe too much, that one covers a longer time jumps
Mm-hmm.
and also would be set in the 1920s or so.
I was about to say, I think this film in particular
The story told in this film works perfectly as a
perfectly as a movie.
Yeah.
If you were to do this as a TV show, it would take too long, and I don't know if adding time to it would really help because I think this movie is paced really, really well
Yeah.
because it means you get reveals. It's paced so that like by the time stuff gets revealed, you've forgotten that they had set it up because it was so long ago. And if you were to do that over more episodes, I don't know if it would work.
Yeah, let me say, the story in this movie is made to be a movie.
Yeah.
What I'm trying to say is the story of the short story
Mhm.
is made more as a serialized thing.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if I stressed this. The premise is like the narrator and Herbert West are trying to like perfect the reagent.
Yeah.
So each serialization is them like trying to perfect it in a different way. It's like their step-by-step process
Okay.
as they're doing different experiments.
Oh, so then every episode would be like, it would be very episodic, I guess?
yeah,
in a
you
certain
maybe have
way?
a couple episodes that are covering one like blip in time.
Mm-hmm.
But I meant like there's blips where it jumps from we're here, now we jump forward like a year or something.
That could be really cool if it were done correctly. So I would be interested, yeah.
Yeah.
I think that could be really interesting.
Oh, yeah.
Especially if you were moved to move the setting back to the 20s where it was really written.
I was just wondering if you'd be interested in like
For sure.
that style of remake. I think so because TV shows are a lot more popular nowadays for horror because horror
Yeah.
has grown as a genre.
Man.
It's not just porn and smut as it used to be referred to.
Yeah, I mean, there's the A24 Crystal Lake show that's coming out. There's the Chucky show. There's the Scream show. There's a bunch now.
Mm-hmm.
There's a bunch of like Netflix original horror shows that are actually good.
Yeah.
Like Midnight Mass is one of my favorite shows of all time. It's a Netflix horror show. So good.
All right. Well, you got anything else to add, Bob?
Yes, I remembered something that I wanted to bring up earlier. Are you done? Like, is this the last thing we're going to talk about before we give ratings and stuff?
Yeah.
Good. You kept saying, and oh man, I wanted to open with this, but I said it's a spoiler, but now we've talked about it, so it doesn't matter. Well, actually, it's still a spoiler, but I'm going to give it anyway, even though we haven't talked about it. You keep saying that this is essentially a riff on Frankenstein.
Yes.
Here's my question. Who's Frankenstein's monster in this film, if you were to give an answer?
Oh, Frankenstein's monster?
Yeah.
Headless corpse.
I think you're wrong.
Do you think it's
Yes.
the one that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because you've read Frankenstein. You know this.
Yeah.
The monster has good intentions. At first, he's only treated poorly because of the way he looks,
Yeah.
which is exactly how I feel about this character. And in the end, he does the right thing.
Yes. Okay. I understand where you're coming from.
Yeah.
You have to remember there's multiple Frankenstein's monsters.
It's true.
And then the first one, you're right.
Yeah,
Frankenstein
if the
monster
OG Frankenstein.
is a sympathetic character.
Yes, very much so.
However, in later Frankensteins, Frankenstein is straight up like a villain.
Yeah, I was just saying, like,
And also more intelligent because at some point Igor's brain gets put into Frankenstein.
good lord.
Yeah, there's multiple Frankensteins. Frankenstein's monsters. It's confusing. I think I read somewhere that this is based on one of the Frankenstein sequels.
Well, I was going to ask, now that I know this, do you think that intentionally when this was made that they included representations of both? Like the headless one is a representation of a different version of the monster, and then the original is a representation of the original from the original novel?
Honestly, I don't know if they were going for representations of Frankenstein.
I think that's a cool idea.
It is a cool idea. I think you're right. I'm not sure if they were going for it. I think it's easy to have a sympathetic dead character
Mhm.
because they were brought back to life against their will.
Yeah.
And they don't seem to be enjoying it.
They are not having a good time.
So it's easy to do sympathetic.
okay.
When I say this is a spin on Frankenstein, what I'm more referring to is the concept of bringing something
Someone back to life. I know.
And I'm really referring to like the original text, which again, I haven't read, so I can't give you examples.
Fair enough.
But I think there's like very close like quotes that are like referencing it.
Oh, okay.
the
That's
text.
cool. I just thought I'd bring that up because I thought about that at the start and went, man, that's a cool idea.
No, that's definitely a cool idea. And I think you're right. The one Bob's referring to, we'll say, is
I really don't want to spoil who it is
The
because it's
second-
interesting.
human cadaver that Dan and Herbert West.
Yeah, because the
bring to
first
life.
one is a menace.
Yeah.
Okay, that's a good way to put it. But yeah, I just thought I'd pose that question because you kept saying like, "Oh, this is like a version of Frankenstein," and I was like, "Well, which one's the monster?"
No, I think it's a good read, and I didn't get that.
Mhm.
I will say the headless one is
For sure.
the more monstrous one, and I think that's closer to like some of the later Frankensteins.
Yeah, I've
It's
only
just a
read
monster.
the first one, so I don't like. I've only read
But also, like,
that one.
interestingly enough, the headless corpse is closer to both Frankenstein's monster, the more monstrous version,
And
and
Dr.
Frankenstein.
Frankenstein, yeah.
Yeah.
That was my thought too.
Which is like the doctor obsessed with hubris. I mean,
Mhm.
Herbert West is too, but like,
He's,
you know, they're
yeah.
both kind of. One's worse. Is that it?
Yeah, I think so.
All right.
I just wanted to pose that question.
You want to do recommendations?
If you like Jeffrey Combs film, he fucking kills it. Good movie from him. If you're a fan of H.P. Lovecraft stories at all, I think this is a good adaptation of one. Not that I've read the original, but from what I can tell from what you're telling me, it seems like it's a good adaptation of the original. But also, I think it's very fitting of what I want in an H.P. Lovecraft story, if that makes sense.
I think so.
Another recommendation, if you're a fan of practical and gore effects, holy shit, this movie does them so well. I cannot think of another movie where I think they look better. If you're a fan of fake heads, this movie has some killer fake heads. And I'm gonna say this, and you might not agree with me. If you're a fan of ludicrous shit, there's some ludicrous shit in this movie. Like, I laughed more than I expected to. Like, I genuinely had a really good time.
Yeah.
There's some funny moments.
That's something I wanted to comment on. And Bob was watching me. I pulled out my phone.
Yeah.
Because I'm trying to pull up a quote.
Okay.
Brian Usna, who I think is the executive producer,
Mhm.
Described this film as being the sort of shock sensibility of an Evil Dead with the production value of hopefully The Howling. Basically, there's some shocking, gruesome horror in this
Yeah.
that comes off as comedic due to the shock factor.
Yeah.
That makes it a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm.
But, decent budget for practicals.
Yeah. Like, I don't think this film is necessarily... It's
it's-
horror, but I'm not...
It's not a horror comedy,
No.
but there's some morbid humor
Yeah.
because there's some moments of brevity mixed in with, like, the shock. Like Bob said earlier, Herbert West has some amazing one-liners.
They make me laugh so hard, bro.
Like, the one-liner I need to mention right now
Is it the one when... Okay. Sorry.
is when Herbert West goes, "What did you want me to say? Cat dead, details later?"
So good.
Like a sticky note.
Oh, my
Which
God.
I want to mention to you right now, and it's a story I meant to mention earlier, but I was like, we're filming the show, so I'll
Yeah.
do it now. I collect, like, enamel pins, right?
Mhm,
That's
yeah.
my way of collecting artwork because they're, like, this
They're
big.
small. Yeah, unlike me, I have...
And they're cheap,
All that stuff.
and
all
I can
this,
have, like, 40 of them, and they take up the same space as, say,
a whole A8 painting.
a whole AL8 painting, which Bob has on his wall because he loves AL8 so much.
I do. It's my favorite.
And I have a pin. I'll send you a picture later.
Oh, man.
It's a syringe with the reagent in it, and there's a sticky note on top that says "Cat dead, details later."
That's such a good... Where'd you get that?
I think Etsy.
Fuck. I want... Man.
It's so good.
That is so fucking good. You know,
It's on my wall of pins.
my dream one day, I dream of this often. I want to have our own podcast space because currently we record the podcast in my bedroom on a dining room table in the middle of my room, like a fucking...
It's not great.
It's not great.
There's
I want...
a dog in here.
There's a dog in here. Well, she's not that bad, honestly. She hadn't been terrible lately.
Sometimes.
She's an ape, but right now she's passed out. She went for a walk earlier and she's tired. Fucking...
Bob's just talking. He wants to decorate a podcast.
I want to decorate a podcast space with a bunch of horror stuff.
Well,
so
to be honest,
bad.
Bob could decorate his room with horror stuff, but he just got into it. So
Yeah.
He doesn't have anything.
I don't
yet.
have any space either.
Yeah, that's
My
true.
walls are covered in shit. I got shelves everywhere. I got all my 40K stuff. I got my Spider-Man like thing over there. Got that stop sign. It's a lot of shit. But yeah, I wanna be able to take a space where we record the podcast and like actually decorate it with horror stuff because I think that would be so fun.
Yeah.
Anyway, back to recommendations.
Oh,
I
my
got
turn?
distracted.
Or do you have any more?
What did I say? Gore practical, Jeffrey Combs,
Some humor.
some humor. It's funnier than I expected,
Oh yeah.
which made it more enjoyable because it's a very morbid story.
Oh yeah. If it was just morbid, it wouldn't be fun. But
It wouldn't-
The humor makes it like not only bearable but enjoyable.
Yeah, yeah. Those are my recommendations. I don't have any more.
For me, if you like Stuart Gordon,
It's true.
like
If you like
Barbara
Stuart Gordon
Crampton,
films.
you like Jeffrey Combs, I think it's probably the best film from
All three of them, yeah. I think it's the best movie I've seen from them.
At the very least, it's the most like iconic. So check it out if you're a fan of any of those people. And for some reason, haven't seen Re-animator yet.
It's so good.
That'd be weird if you were a fan of them and hadn't seen this.
Because it's...
I mean, I guess it could happen, but
It
still.
happened to me.
Secondly, if you want like some good practical effects, Bob keeps saying it's the best practical effects he's seen. They're not the best practical effects ever.
Well, they're the best I've seen.
I think they're very good gore practical effects.
That's how I feel about it.
I don't think they're the best practical effects ever. I just think in the setting of like a medical movie
Mm-hmm.
that focuses on like cadavers, they're very convincing and they fit the theme well. There's definitely practical effects that have been better.
For sure.
But
I haven't seen them yet.
The Thing is my classic go-to for like some of the best practical effects of all time.
That's fair.
Not to say anything bad about this one. Practical effects are great in this. Sometimes they're kind of goofy,
Sometimes they make me laugh.
but the actors sell everything, so that's
For
always
sure.
great. Another thing, like we said, it's got humor sprinkled throughout a morbid tone that works because of shock factor and how unfunny these moments are. I think the comparison Usna made in this quote to Evil Dead is pretty great. So if you like Evil Dead, it's kind of got a similar tone to the first one. Not the second one, the first one. So if you're a fan of that movie, you're probably going to like this one. Last but not least, if you're a fan of Lovecraft,
Yeah.
probably not the most accurate adaptation ever, but like I can definitely see the inspiration, and like these people came from a place of loving it
Mm-hmm.
when they
For
wrote
sure.
it. So that's all I
Okay.
got.
All right, before we
All
move on to ratings.
Yeah.
Not to interrupt. You're about to be really mad at me.
Mm-hmm.
You mentioned Evil Dead.
Yeah.
I might just crack his knuckles like he's gonna beat me up. I might have seen like a pretty big Evil Dead Rise spoiler on accident.
Well, you can't tell me about it.
I know I can't tell you, but I'm just letting you know that I did see it, and you can be upset at me if you want, but it wasn't my fault.
Bob, I have decided to take a very specific stance with you on spoilers.
Yeah.
So for anyone who doesn't know, Bob was not into horror movies when we started this podcast. He has since gotten really into horror movies,
Yeah.
but like because of the premise behind this podcast, can't watch anything.
Nope. Anything that I haven't already seen or without explicit permission.
Yeah, and that's rarely given. 'Cause
Rarely
I basically
given.
have to be like, this could never be on here.
Yeah. Or it's
essentially.
like it's super unlikely.
Because once Bob's seen it, I don't really want to put it on here unless it
Well, yeah, because part
is
of the
super deserving.
point of the podcast is like the shock value of me reacting to, oh my god, what the fuck.
But sometimes, because Bob is, and I'm using his own words here, chronically online,
Yeah, well.
and he cannot resist the temptation of staying away from certain parts of the internet that have spoilers,
Yeah.
he gets big spoilers. Because he can't help himself because he's addicted.
Listen, man, sometimes I'm just scrolling through Twitter.
Yeah, but he's on horror Twitter.
No, I'm not, though.
Because he's been recommended it.
No, hold on.
And sometimes it's just on normal Twitter. But
This
he
was
knows
not
that
my
Twitter's
fault.
spoilery.
This is not my fault. Straight up, not my fault. I'm explaining right now. I was tweeting for the podcast on Monday. I had all week to tell you. I just kept forgetting.
On the podcast Twitter or your Twitter?
Podcast Twitter.
Well, that is horror Twitter.
That is horror Twitter. But I literally opened it, and the first thing I saw was a spoiler. Like, I opened
Yeah.
Twitter before I even got to hit the add tweet button on my phone, and
I mean,
I got fucking
That one's
spoiled.
not necessarily your fault. But I'm also referencing other things.
Okay, the other one's all my fault.
Yeah.
The big one is my fault.
Point being,
I just
because
thought I would
of
let you
the
know.
way Bob is, sometimes he gets spoilers. And instead of getting mad about it, I think the stance I'm choosing is natural consequences.
No, don't do this. No,
Because
hold on.
like,
don't do this to me.
are you?
Don't do this,
What do
man.
you think I'm gonna say?
No, keep
No,
going.
we're just not gonna watch the films because you have spoilers.
Keep going.
No, we're gonna watch the films. The natural consequences is he's just not gonna enjoy them as much
okay.
because he has spoilers.
I thought you were gonna ban me. I thought you were gonna go like, you know what? Fuck you. You've seen a spoiler. We're not watching these movies ever.
Well, no, when you get spoilers, it makes me less likely to put them on the board.
It's true.
That is just also a part of it
Yeah.
because
You know.
I know your reactions will be lowered, but
Yeah.
legitimately, like it's not great when you get spoilers, and it's
It
not always your
sucks.
fault.
I'm still mad about it.
But spoilers suck because they ruin certain movies for you. There's certain movies that have, shall we say, twists that are very important to your enjoyment of the film.
Yeah.
And if you know what those twists are before you've seen the movie,
Yep.
you can still enjoy the film, but it is not the same. For
Mhm.
instance, our movie last week, which was really, really great.
Oh, movie's
But
so
if you
good.
know anything about that film,
Ruined.
not ruined, you can still enjoy yourself.
You'll have a much worse time.
But the experience is in no way the same.
No. I just thought I should let you know that I had some spoilers for Evil Dead Rise.
Yeah.
And I'm sad about it because
I still need to see it, but I've been so busy with work.
for those of you, that aren't with us all the time, we've been trying to fucking find time to watch Evil Dead for like 2 months
It's one of my favorite film series ever.
because we wanted to watch this in theaters together, but we just haven't had fucking time.
Let's be honest, I said, Bob, we can watch.
Okay.
We have 2 weeks and we can watch all 4 Evil Dead
Yeah.
films,
In 2 weeks.
And Bob was
on
like,
top of recording the normal
"Nah."
podcast.
which is a sensible decision. I think I might have died.
I think
But,
I also would have perished.
You know.
Anyway, sorry to interrupt. I just thought I like to bring this stuff up on the podcast because I think A, it's interesting, but also B, I just wanted to see how upset you would
You
be.
have proof that I don't murder you?
Yeah.
All right. It was a good point now. But recommendations. We did those.
Yeah.
So rating.
Ratings. Okay. Like I said before, I like this movie. I like this movie a lot, and I think it does a lot of really cool stuff. I think the acting's good. I don't have any major issues with it. Honestly, there's a couple of things where I'm like, meh. So,
What were you mad on?
I don't want.
If you can say it.
I can't say it. Well, I guess I could.
Can
The-
you say it without saying it?
Kinda. The cat stuff.
Okay.
The puppet was fine.
That's what I mentioned about some of the practical
Yeah,
effects.
like some of that stuff, it's fine, but
That's just because that's hard to do with practical effects.
exactly. Oh, something else I didn't mention. Sorry to keep distracting us. I mentioned this gives very much the zombies give like Return of the Living Dead vibes, in my
Well,
opinion.
that's because zombies in Return of the Living Dead are more active and can talk.
Yeah, which is cool. Like I got the same vibe from these, especially like
And also look like dead bodies.
that's what it was. Yeah, that's why I just
Yeah.
I enjoyed that aspect of it. Yeah, so I like a lot of stuff. There are a couple things where I'm like, man, so I'm only gonna take off a half point, 4.5. I like this movie a fuck ton. Like this is one of those movies where I'm like, oh yeah, I want to go buy this.
Well, yeah.
So cool,
It's so cool.
so cool.
All right. Well, I guess it's my turn.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, I'm gonna give it a 4.5 as well. It's not a perfect movie.
No, it's
Definitely not a perfect movie. And it's not even because like some parts of the film I didn't like.
No, I liked all of it.
This film's just not good enough to be a perfect movie.
Yeah.
However, it's pretty close.
Mhm.
Like it's an enjoyable time, but more importantly, like it set out to be just an adaptation of a Frankenstein homage,
Mhm.
and it ended up being essentially an amazing exploration of a mad scientist and like a weird zombie movie all rolled into one.
Yeah.
It's just great. I
It's
love
good.
it. They go above and beyond with the practicals. The writing's really good. The actors sell their performances, all of them. We keep mentioning Jeffrey Combs, but
All
Barbara
of them.
Crampton really puts everything out there in multiple ways.
Yeah,
The guy who plays Dan
great,
also does a great job
fantastic.
doing some good emotional ranges. The guy who plays the, we'll say, Headless Corpse,
Fantastic job.
amazing job. The stuff he had to go through for some of those practicals must have been horrible.
For sure.
Just everyone does great, and I think it gets pushed right up to above and beyond the standards of what it could be.
Do you want to know what the only thing that could make this a 5 for me?
What?
I think it lacks. It's a very surface level movie, and if it had some deeper stuff I could have picked apart, I could give it a 5.
I don't think there's
If there was some way to provide deeper
Yeah.
meaning to this, it's like, not to say it's a nothing film or like, but it's a film very much about the shock value of what you're seeing, and there's
Yeah.
not a lot of deeper themes to unpack. If they had somehow pumped some deeper themes into
well,
this,
I think the deeper themes are very surface level. That's the issue. Because
That's the
they're
problem,
pretty
yeah.
deep themes that's about like life and death. They're just
not.
classic gothic themes of horror, and we're just so familiar
Yeah.
with them.
It just feels so, I don't know, paper thin sometimes, because it's like we've seen it a lot. It's a very classic idea,
It's
and
just
not that
done
it's
super well.
derivative or anything, but yeah, it's just done super well. So it doesn't
Technically is derivative, right?
it doesn't feel derivative because it's so well
Yeah.
done. That's the thing.
But it's nothing like super unique.
Exactly.
Like our film last week was
so
super unique.
Yeah, like I'd never seen anything like
because
that.
You don't see people do stuff like that. But this one, like, it's a lot of classic stuff. It's just
Yeah.
done well.
Exactly.
I think you're right.
And that's what makes it so cool.
All right, anything else?
Nah, man.
All right, well, we're gonna go to the outtakes.
Yeah, we'll
Bob's gonna have fun with those because our app used to like mark where all the outtakes are kind of glitched and deleted all our markers. So Bob has to go back to manually doing it. So hopefully there's some good ones.
I'm not gonna cut any because I'm lazy. No, I'll cut some. There's one I have to cut for sure.
All right.
At least one.
Well, we'll see you after those. How many there are?
Yeah, we'll see you guys in a bit. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the outtake section for this episode of Beware the Board. I hope you're enjoying our review of Re-animator so far. I think this movie's super fucking cool, but I'm going to go ahead and give it. There is a spoiler warning for the outtakes on this one. If you do not want anything spoiled, skip to 1 hour, 33 minutes, and 18 seconds immediately. This first outtake is Ben and I's reaction to the cold open. Oh, it's the lady with the dog.
My dog's missing.
Yeah, from Beyond.
Hans Gruber.
Oh no, not the Groupster.
Herr Doctor.
They're not gonna give me.
Are they in Switzerland?
Well, Zurich is in. Yeah, I think it is. I think it is Switzerland. Yeah, they speak German in Switzerland though.
Do they?
It's very common. Yeah, like the name for the University of Zurich is almost the exact same as in English or in German. It's
Well-
Universität.
I figured Hans Gruber was a German man.
Yeah, I think he is. Oh, Jeffrey Combs, the Combster,
Ah, he's so unhinged.
and the
in
Doctor.
this movie, and I love it.
He's not okay. No, the Combster's gone off the edge.
Ah, he's glorious.
Oh,
in
what?
this.
See, we mess with the TV volume, make sure it's right. Oh, he's got so much blood coming out of his mouth. It was turned way up. Yeah, that probably sounds like shit on the audio. Oh, no! Oh, my God, his eyeballs are, like, popping out of his skull.
Well, that wasn't supposed to happen.
I don't think that was supposed to happen. You're right. He's dead. Thanks, Combs! Oh, well, you might have. You gave him life, you sumbitch.
Okay.
This next clip is Ben and I reacting to the intro credits for this movie.
Okay, coolest intro fucking ever. You ready?
Okay.
Best intro.
It's cool.
No, Bob, you don't even understand.
I know, but
Remember when I kept complaining about the other Jeffrey Gordon intros?
Yeah.
This
Because
is
this one
why.
slaps so hard.
It slaps so much.
Yo, okay.
Look at this. It's all like old medical diagrams that they've like lit in different colors.
This is cool. You know what I think might have this beat? And this is just because I personally enjoyed it so much. Night of the Demons.
Oh, this song? It's a reference to Hitchcock.
What?
This music?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a reference to Hitchcock.
Is it?
This is kind of close to the beginning of Psycho.
Is it? I
Yeah.
haven't heard it. But I was saying, like, for like an animated sort of intro thing, I think I like Night of the Demons.
Oh, no, Night of the Demons had a very good animated intro.
So cool. Especially for the period, too. Like,
This one's just like...
this one's just actually really stylistic and cool.
Look at that!
Okay, that's really cool.
So cool.
That was a really good cold open.
Yeah.
This next clip is my reaction to some of the medical procedures that take place at this hospital. Ugh! The hell are they doing to this guy?
They're cutting his head open with a laser.
That's normal.
I guess it's better than a bone saw, right?
Maybe. Oh! 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 They're shoving a Q-tip in his noggin!
Well, yeah, you're not supposed to use it to clean your ears anymore.
Ah! That was disgusting. Oh, Herbert West. Here we go. This next clip is Ben and I reacting to them performing a really gross surgery at the hospital. I'm going to go ahead and give you a gag warning for this one. I don't know what the word for skull is. I know the word for head.
Ready?
No. Oh, no, bro. She's not about to just...
She, that's a man. A large orange.
He just pulled a scalp off of... No. No! Ben?
Then you take the bone saw.
No. Please don't show me. Just keep it up here. Let me look at Combs. Oh. That was stressful. That was really stressful, Ben. This next clip is Ben and I's reaction to what always happens to cats in horror movies. No. Goddamn horror movies and cats. No, bro. What did Herbert West do to that cat? You fat cat. You see, it's different now because if one of my roommates never spoke to me but my cat suddenly disappeared, I didn't see my roommate for a couple days,
but
I'd
she
be
was-
concerned.
She was being paranoid first.
Well,
you
now
know?
she has real reasons.
I
The
mean,
cat is missing.
fair enough, but I'm just putting out that she was looking for an issue,
Sure.
and she just latched onto the first one. It's not even her cat's missing. She just hasn't hurt her cat,
Like, if I had...
which cats are pretty quiet, you know?
That's true. I guess it's different if, like, Piper went missing. I would notice.
Yeah, it's just...
Because I see her all day.
It's her being paranoid for the sake of being paranoid.
Yeah. But if, like, suddenly Alora went missing, like, you know? I don't know. Something about cats.
Personally, I think she might just want to snoop around.
I mean, I'd want to snoop around. If I had a weird, eccentric roommate like fucking Herbert West, I would snoop through their shit.
She doesn't.
Yeah, that's true. Her
She
boyfriend
doesn't
has a
live here.
roommate.
She is just being super invasive.
Rufus.
Now, you shouldn't snoop around even still.
No, you shouldn't. I wouldn't. I respect people's personal space.
You might want to, but still. It's not okay.
Oh, I saw this coming. If it's what I think it is.
I don't know why she thinks Rufus is going to be in there.
That's disgusting. There's a dead cat in the fridge.
What are you doing on my room?
What are you doing in my room?
I mean, it's a valid question.
it
you
is a
know?
valid question.
I'd be mad. I mean, your cat is in the
Yep.
fridge. But you shouldn't have been in his room in the first
You
place.
shouldn't have been in his room, but that is fucked up.
Well,
Is there a glowing green liquid in the bottom down there?
no.
What the fuck?
There's no going green liquid.
What the hell is that?
Nothing. These are all perfectly valid things.
Is that the name of the episode?
It is. And I have a funny story about that.
Cat dead details later. That's such a funny fucking title.
But it is a valid point. Like,
It is, yeah.
what are you supposed to say here? Like, your roommate
For
broke
sure.
into your room and finds their dead cat in your room.
This next clip is Ben and I's reaction to the first reanimated corpse finally getting up. They're using Shadow to cover his cock and balls really well.
I know. It's impressive.
It is very impressive. That's awesome! That was so fucking cool!
You mean how he's strong enough to break down a freezer door?
Yeah, and he fucking crushed him with it. Now he's gonna... Oh, no. Well, don't kill him. Come on, man.
He's kind of a dick.
He is a dick. Oh, is he gonna bite his fingers off? Ow! Oh, and he spit him out. Oh, he's got... Oh, my God. Oh! Man, this movie's fucking sick. This movie is so fucking cool. That guy's dead as hell. It doesn't matter how much they hit him. He's basically immune.
What are they going to do? Kill him a second time?
They could try.
Well, they can.
I mean, it works. It worked on the cat. Herbert! You fucking freak! Oh, my Lord. Oh, what is he? How is he going to do it?
How do you think, Bob?
Oh. Oh. Oh.
It's heart failure.
Yeah. This next clip is Ben and I's reaction to a character losing their head.
Do you know what the first rule of blackmail is?
No.
It's called never blackmail a crazy person.
Oh my God. Herbert West, you fucking idiot.
Got nothing to lose. Except
It's
his
true.
research.
Oh no.
It's time for Shovels to get his revenge.
The return. That was such a good bonk. Oh! Oh my God!
Yeah.
That's so brutal. Plagiarist? Got him? Holy shit, he took his head off with a shovel. That's so cool. Damn, not what I expected. Now he's going to pick his head up. That is a really good fake head.
It is very good.
Like, normally fake heads are pretty, like, fake, and you can really tell. That looks like a really, really good fake head.
You know what the best part of it is?
What?
It's fresh.
It's true. Is he going to... Oh, those things are so dangerous. I hate them.
Yeah, but remember what that movie was in?
Oh.
That was in Terror Train.
Yeah.
Same thing with the shovel.
Mm-hmm.
Receipt spike.
Yep. Oh, man, I was going to say something.
He's realizing. It's fresh.
Yeah, I expected him to do this one. This is what I expected from the beginning.
I loved his little speech about that unbreakable plastic bottle.
Hi, everybody. Welcome back. I hope you enjoyed the outtakes. I'm sure there were some. I don't know what got clipped. I know there at least is a cat reference somewhere in there.
Bob just really doesn't want to go through these.
No, because it's a... Dude, listen here, you sumbitch. Last episode, I went through 110 and used 12 of them.
Okay, that wasn't because those 110 weren't funny. It's just a lot of them was us making horrifying chuckling noises at things without context.
Yeah. So hopefully there's some good ones in this. I know there are a couple. I'll find them. I'll put them in. Whatever.
It's just gonna suck.
Do we have any announcements, Benjamin?
Not besides the usual ones.
Okay. Well, in that case, follow us on Twitter, @BewareTheBoard. It's where I post everything about the show. I post updates about the show on our Twitter. Every Monday, I post a spoiler post for that week of episodes. So, like, Friday's episode, I always post a picture of the movie cover with it blurred out so you can't see it. And then you can uncover that and see what movie it is so you can maybe watch the movie before we do so you don't get anything spoiled during the episode. I also post a link to every episode when it goes live on Friday. And any other updates about the show go on our Twitter. So check us out.
Yeah, we're also everywhere you get your podcasts. You know,
Yeah.
Spotify, Apple Podcasts,
Everywhere.
other places. We're also on YouTube. If
Yeah.
like that's where you're interested in watching us for some reason, you know, please like, comment, subscribe, all that stuff. Our channel's been really low on like viewer count since we
Move to Spotify
moved to
because
Spotify and stuff.
everyone's moved to that
And so,
platform
like,
instead.
Doing that will really help us out in reanimating the channel and bringing it back up.
Ooh, that was a good one. I was waiting to see where you're going to get that Re-animator reference in. That was good. Let's see. Anything else? If you have recommendations for the random category of the board or any movies you think Ben and I should watch, leave those in the comments because we need your recommendations.
On both
and-
YouTube or Twitter.
or Twitter, wherever you want to let us know what movies we should watch. Let us know because, honestly, at least for me, I'm not going to read them. Ben is. I feel like sometimes for certain categories, it's hard for you to find certain movies that fit it, and maybe a recommendation from the audience would help.
Yeah. Or at least help me think of categories.
Yeah,
I'm like, that movie sounds really fun. Let's put
exactly.
that on here.
We're on TikTok now. I post clips from the show on TikTok, so if you want to check us out on TikTok, it's at Beware the Board.
I guess you're posting those on YouTube too. Shorts, right?
I haven't. Some of them are too long.
Hmm.
You can only do 60 seconds for a short, and some of the clips I'm putting on TikTok are like a minute and a half.
But some of them.
Some of them are less than 60, so those will also go up on our YouTube channel as shorts. I think that about wraps us up, Ben.
All right. Well, see you next week.
Yeah, I guess we'll see you guys next week.